Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I'm looking a little crazy out here because it is cold in my apartment as usual. We got a nice little storm going on, so I'm trying to bundle up. But anyway, the Lakers are, along with two other teams, the Knicks and the Sacramento Kings, are interested in acquiring Kyle Kuzma from the Washington Wizards. Now, Kyle Kuzma's on a 2-year, $13 million deal. He's probably going to want an extension right away. In fact, I don't know if that's actually a 2-year deal. The trade tracker said it was a 2-year deal. So we're just going to roll with that. But from what I understand, it's going to be a situation where the Knicks, if you want to do a deal there, I think you can match up Derrick Rose's contract. The Sacramento Kings can do a combination of Larry Hughes and another $1 million contract, maybe. Not Larry Hughes, but what's the guy's name? I think his last name is Hughes. It's not Larry Hughes. Larry Hughes played for the Sixers back in the day, so forgive me. But we're talking about the center from the Sacramento Kings. And they can also add another $1 million contract like Chizzy Metu or something like that, make it work. Of course, we can also add another player as well in that same vein. And so can the Knicks. Or you can attach a first-round pick, maybe a couple seconds. There should be ways to make it better so that you can actually make that trade make sense. Because now all the trades that are going to get Kyle Kuzma to your team is going to have the Wizards taking about players that they have no business trying to acquire without having something attached to it to make sense. So what you have to ask yourself, if you're any of those teams, is Kyle Kuzma going to be somebody that you can re-sign in the event that you do bring him in? And is he going to be someone that you're willing to give up pick equity to acquire on top of what it is that's going to be a salary match? Now, if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, this is a headache and beyond understanding, because we had Kyle Kuzma, we had picks, we had KCP, we had God knows what else we gave up in the Washington deal to get back Russell Westbrook, and now we're going to be bringing back Kyle Kuzma, and none of that stuff is coming back with us. Now, we still got Russell Westbrook's $47 million contract. Maybe that can net us some things, but not the same stuff that we gave up to get Kuzma. So you almost feel like an idiot giving up more stuff to bring back a player you literally gave up to get a player that you now want to give up. It just speaks to why a lot of people are frustrated with how things are going here in LA with the Lakers. It's just not. This is not how you do it. This is not how you do it. But I understand just by the understanding what that piece could do for us now that he's developed since he's been in Washington, and now we have a different coach and the system is ready to win. He's already won a championship here and all that stuff. So if I'm a Laker exec, I'm probably very excited about reacquiring Kyle Kuzma, because I probably should not have given up on him in the first place. The key to it all is being able to keep him and making sure his bird rights are attached to him. Because if we trade for this guy and we don't have his bird rights after literally trading his bird rights away, I don't even want to do it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even want to do it. I don't want to do it. I just feel like that's just as stupid as hell. That's like buying a stock high, selling it low, and then buying it back a little lower and then selling it even lower. It's like, what the hell are we doing? Don't do that. Let's just not do that. I like Kyle Kuzma as much as the next person, but if his acquisition doesn't make any sense for our franchise, then so be it. Also, it's been said that he wasn't too excited about playing here. Now, granted, a lot of that might have been him saying what he needed to say to stay close to the Washington fan base and all that. But he spoke to how he was able to be free in that system, able to get his shots up, able to not have to play behind Bron and AD. If he comes back here, he's going to have to take that sacrifice, take those steps backwards all over again. And I just don't know why the heck he would want to do that. Not long term. He might be forced to do it. But once it's time for him to be a free agent, he probably won't choose to do it. And so that's why I'm like, if you sure you can re-sign him. So that's my thing with Kyle Kuzma. I don't want to look up. We reacquire this dude, give up all that we have to give up to acquire him, and then he turns back into the person we remember him being. That's not the Kyle Kuzma we want. 10 points, 2 rebounds. No, we want him to be the same Kyle Kuzma he is here, and I'm not sure that we even have the system for him to be that. So if you're acquiring him, you got to know that you're acquiring a lesser version of him just by default, because you ain't going to have the same shots for him to take that he's getting in Washington. So let that be attached to the price if you can make that make sense for yourself. The Knicks, that's a lot of lateral move. I don't know what the Knicks are doing. Honestly, the Knicks, they're just the Knicks, man. They beat somebody they were not supposed to beat a couple days ago. I don't know who it was. I think it was some random contender that they were able to beat. I think it was Milwaukee or something. They beat somebody. And so maybe they're looking at their situation saying, we're not too far away. Julius is playing all-star level ball right now. You got Derrick Rose playing at a high level. You could probably trade his contract. A couple of those other guys like Quickly and those guys, you can probably trade them for really valuable stuff if you want to move on. So, maybe they could attach one or two of those guys to a Fournier contract or a Randall contract and get some cap space available for themselves and all that. But it seems like they're looking in a different direction. And it seems like they may be willing to give up some pick equity to get Kyle Kuzma. Now, the good thing for them is, unlike the Lakers, they got picks on picks on picks on picks. So they can go ahead and do that type of trade like 3 times if they want to and make themselves, a better team right now than they are. But I don't know that Kyle Kuzma ultimately makes them a whole lot better than Obi Toppin does right now. I mean, honestly, Obi's going to ascend into who he's going to be. And I'm not saying he's Kyle Kuzma. They're different players, but it's like, I don't know that they're that much different to where you're going to trade all this stuff, bring him in, and then what? With Toppin and those guys, you just going to keep them all in rotation. You got a lot of forwards that you already don't necessarily have the minutes for. So I guess the Knicks' plan is to maybe condense the roster. Maybe they can move some pieces around, bring Kyle Kuzma in to make more sense than what he does right now. But I don't really get it. I don't get it. They already paid R.J. Barrett a bunch of money. He's an offensive player that doesn't play D. Now you're going to bring in Kyle Kuzma. He's not a defensive player like that. I mean, you're going to be able to put up a lot of points, but you're going to run into Giannis, still get knocked off. You're going to run into the Boston Celtics, still get knocked off. So I don't believe the Knicks are really moving the needle that much unless they have bigger plans than what that is. And Sacramento was the last but not least. That's the team that makes the most sense. That's the team that wanted them from us initially and lost a chance to get them because of the last minute the trade didn't go through. And we ended up sending him to Washington instead of getting back Buddy Hield. So Sacramento just got fleeced. He was a part of their plans from the jump. So that's who I think ultimately should probably make the biggest push to get him. And plus, they have a more easier path to acquiring him than the Lakers do. As to which we got to give up picks probably to get him in order to win the sweepstakes against those two teams. We'll probably have to throw in both picks. I'm not that desperate to get back a player I traded away. Not to give up the 2 picks I have, the only last 2 picks I got. If I was in the Knicks situation, I got 7 of them, yeah, I might be willing to part ways, but the only last 2 picks, hell no. To trade for a guy that we had for 5 years and was unhappy with for most part, nah, I'm not even doing that. So, like me personally, I want to reacquire Kyle Kuzma for the right price. I want to re-sign Kyle Kuzma and pick up where we left off, but the reality is we gave up a whole lot to get Russell Westbrook, and he was part of that. And when he got to where he was going, he raised his trade value almost double to where we had it. So now we got to pay almost double to get him back. That is just not how I want to move forward as a basketball club. Even if I really like the piece, I feel like just like we found one Kyle Kuzma, we could find another one. You know what I mean? Like we found him when it's the back of the first round, I think it was. Something like that. In that kind of situation, I feel like it was a testament to our scouts who know what the hell they're doing. So instead of overpaying for their work, just get them more picks and allow them to do more good work. That makes more sense to me. Instead of overpaying for stuff they already drafted, already scouted. Anyway, so that's my point on that, just as it pertains to just the way the organization is kind of trying to, oops, we made a mistake, let's undo it. No, you're not undoing it. You're making more mistakes to make that happen again. That's all you're doing. You're not undoing anything. So that's how I look at it, man. The Lakers need to be focused on getting pieces like Kyle Kuzma. They just need to make sure that they're doing it in ways that don't make them worse. That's the point blank period. I don't care that you make trades. Just make sure they're not bad trades anymore. Because all of the trades that we've made have been bad. All of them. And I say that with confidence, unfortunately, as I've thought a great deal about this. We haven't won any trades since Rob and Braun have been in place. Not a single one of them. So that is what needs to change. Now, Jeannie Buss knows how, that she's got a fan base that doesn't really understand who's in charge of constructing the roster fully. We just use speculation as a means of providing the accountability we think is necessary. But in all honesty, the only person I know to blame is her, based on the fact that she left that to be the environment for us to read. So at the end of the day, I just need her to undo what needs to be done instead of allowing the people who made mistakes to undo those mistakes themselves. No, that's the problem. It's like we're continuing to try to make big moves, and we really don't have a great positioning from which to work because of how far from behind, we're always playing as it pertains to putting this team together. We're always playing from behind because we're always constructed improperly and want to build from there. It's like I always say, your foundation has to be strong so you can build properly. The Lakers are essentially building on steps, like literally on a stairwell. You're trying to build your foundation. It's just like, come on, you guys, let's get a flat surface here. Let's reset our situation. Let's just get ourselves back into a position of zero. Start over, clean slate, and let's build. That's what I want us to do. I want us to rebuild. Because we got something really, really pretty. But like I said, if the foundation is unsolid or not stable, it's just going to fall apart. And I'm just waiting for it to fall, man. And this is the thing. That is exactly the thing. I don't know that you can keep this up. It's not like I expect this to see itself all the way through. I'm not going to bullcrap you guys. I may not have verbalized this, but my concern is that this team ain't going to make it through the season. We're leaning too much on Anthony Davis and LeBron James. We've gotten through 1/3 of the season. They've already missed more than 8 games apiece. I don't know. We're done missing games. That's my concern. So it's like, yeah, they're trucking along. They're pushing along. But it's like, I think everybody's just assuming that we have perfect health ahead. With the players that we're leaning on, that's not realistic. It's just not. That's kind of along the lines. I'm like, look, I'm telling you guys, I think we should rebuild. But what I'm actually saying is I think we're going to be forced to rebuild very soon. Or at some point, we're going to realize that we never had a choice. That this is not a real thing. So that's my concern here, is that Laker fans about to have the rug ripped from under them with another one of them injuries that's just inevitable when you're relying upon guys that are too old and injury prone. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with this. It's like, yes, I like what we have right now because I'm really starting to enjoy the unit. But as long as we're always leaning on AD being the only valuable thing we have, you're looking at a situation where as soon as he faces the worst of injury concerns, that's when you realize what it is that I'm seeing in my head as the worst of things in regards to our franchise. So that's why I preach this as much as I do. It's like, look, we can keep moving forward. You know, Jeannie can keep doing this. But it's just about how long this thing stays together from a health perspective. And when it doesn't, how that affects future seasons, which is the only thing I'm really thinking about at all. So, hey, man, we're going to have fun regardless of who they put in the uniform. I'm pretty sure we'll find ways of getting talented people, maybe take a pay cut to want to showcase themselves in LA. So we'll always have a chance to put together what I think is a playoff team. But as far as us being good enough to build a championship, if you don't rebuild and get that proper flat foundation where you can have real cap space and real lottery picks and all the different things that help you really undo actual things that you may mistakenly do, then you're always in a position where you're just waiting for it to fall apart and praying that it actually does not. And so, hey, if she wants to move that way, I just don't know what her projections are going to look like on paper. You know, if I'm projecting what our team looks like in 5 years, I'm saying we could be anywhere from double our money to half our money based on how we're constructed. You really want to live that way? I just don't think so. I don't. So it is what it is, man. You know, and with the competition in place, Steve Ballmer, I wouldn't. I know this is not a new video. You guys have heard me have this conversation before, but it's always on my mind when it comes to this franchise. I just don't find myself being short-sighted only. I can be short-sighted and want this unit to win and want us to bring all the stuff to this unit, but I also understand a couple of false moves can send us into a place where we have nothing but Socrates and Troy Browns all up and down the roster. And we've already been there. We know what that looks like. Kendall Marshall, Ryan Kelly. You know, we've had so many players, man, that weren't that great. And the reason why they weren't that great is because we built with wrong foundation. You know, we built with the wrong foundation then. And we were putting players together in cap ways that didn't make sense then, which is why we had to get guys that weren't any good. And as a result, you have Smush Parkers and Sun UAs and all these dudes running around. They can't help you like that. No disrespect to those guys who are all better basketball players than me, but like, you don't want me down there either. And so that's the truth, man. We just got to make sure our talent level is high, and the best way to do that is to make sure your books are clean, you know, in terms of your cap space. You want to have all the flexibility necessary. And teams that don't have it are going to have very, very bleak futures. You know, so that's what it is. That's just the bottom line. So as far as the Kyle Kuzma situation, of course, I come at you from a Laker perspective with this conversation. But, I do think Sacramento should be the team that goes after him. I do. I just think that they had him in plan. The way Mike Brown is coaching right now is phenomenal. The Beam team, all that is great. And they may be a Kyle Kuzma away from being a championship caliber team. I'm not even kidding. When you consider what they have, if they don't have to give up any of their main pieces, you got Keegan Murray. Essentially, Kyle Kuzma can come in and step in front of Keegan Murray so that Keegan Murray isn't expected to be Keegan Murray too soon. That's exactly what because Keegan's not coming along as fast as they thought he would, even though he's going to be phenomenal, as we all know. But he's not. He didn't step in and be that immediate impact player that he was drafted to be. And so it's one of those situations where it's like, that's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You got a player of the future who's going to be a phenomenal and a very, very fantastic role player for the time being. So you bring in a Kyle Kuzma, have him step in front of him, have them play in rotations with each other. You got Harrison Barnes, Kyle Kuzma, Keegan Murray, Malik Monk, all that efficient shooting. I legitimately think they can get out of the first round if they do that. Like, that's their floor, second round, if they get Kyle Kuzma. So as far as I can tell, you move a couple pieces that you don't even care to move, care to keep, rather. Rashad Holmes is who the name it was. It wasn't Hughes. It was Rashad Holmes. For those who wondering what I was trying to say earlier. Rashad Holmes and, like maybe Chizzy Metu or something like that. And you send him to the Washington Wizards, you bring back Kyle Kuzma, and you have the role for Kyle Kuzma. Even though he's not going to be able to shoot as many shots, the way the team's constructed, they're going to be looking for each other. It's not like LeBron's going to be and AD going to be taking 25 shots apiece. No, Malik going to get his 10, Kuzma going to get his 12, Herder's going to get his 10. It's going to be a lot of ball movement. Fox is going to get his 15. It's just going to be a lot of shooting, a lot of scoring, a lot of efficiency. When you consider what Monk and Herder are about alone, those are a lot of guys who are going to hit a lot of shots. So you bring Kyle Kuzma in, who, when he's right, is a hyper-efficient shot hitter as well. They're just not going to be doing a lot of missing. That's what I see there. If they can get Sacramento, if they can get Kyle Kuzma without giving up any of those players. Yeah, they're very, 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 very capable at that point. And you got to put them in the conversation with New Orleans. You got to put them in the conversation with Memphis. That's where they're going to be headed. Golden State. If Sac does that, they're the truth. So that's what I got to say, man. Maybe if you're the Lakers, you make that move just to keep Sac from doing that. If you consider it as serious as I do. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I'm not excited about doing anything that's gonna make us less flexible, and ultimately someone who's gonna come in and have to play lesser, unhappily, in this situation. No, we don't need that. We gotta find pieces that actually fit with Bron. We need to understand something right here and now. Kyle Kuzma did not fit well with LeBron James. He was supposed to, because we wanted Kyle Kuzma to be a catch and shoot specialist. But that wasn't his game. He needed the ball in his hands more, just like Austin Reeves needed the ball in his hands more, just like THT needed the ball in his hands more, just like B.I. needed the ball in his hands more. You see what I'm saying? And here we go again with us trying to get another guy who needs the ball in his hands to succeed. That is not the way to go. We need Kevin Herter. We need Malik Monk. We need players who can catch and shoot, along with being able to guard the perimeter, be long and wingy and defensive. I don't look at Kyle Kuzma like that. Even though he has that type of body, he was never that type of player. He tended to get pushed around when he was with us. He tended to kind of be a guy who, even though he played the boards and rebounded the ball well, he wasn't overly strong. He wasn't a bruiser. So it's like, do we have that piece when we bring this player in, or are we just going to be reminded that he was who he was when he was with us, and that we don't have the role for him to be that person he was in Washington? I think about what Westbrook looked in Washington and the role he was in when we were trying to pick him up, and why we were so excited about bringing him in, because he was averaging a triple-double with the Washington Wizards. When you brought him here, was he able to do that? Has he done any of that since? I think he got his first triple-double of the season with the Lakers in the last game. So you trying to tell me that we traded for him because we were enamored with his numbers in Washington and we couldn't duplicate those numbers? We're going to do the same thing with with a different player in that same situation? Nah, you got to be smarter than that. You just got to be smarter than that. You got to anticipate Kyle Kuzma's numbers going down when you get him here. And so that's just something I know they're not doing. I know they're not doing that. So I want Kyle Kuzma, but not at the price he's likely going to be. If you can get him out of here for without giving up picks, then of course you got to do that. Patrick Beverly and maybe like a Damian Jones, if they would be willing to do something like that, then you pull the trigger. You thank them. But if I'm them, I just turn to New York and say, give me your package, or go to Sacramento and give me your package. I'm not taking the Lakers package in that situation. So that's what I think of the Kyle Kuzma situation in short, man. It's a long shot. We get him. Very long shot in my mind. But I do think the Lakers can package some other stuff and find something that they like. But going back, getting a guy that you gave up, just and paying the price that now it's going to cost to get him, that is a terrible, terrible decision. It really is. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching.